Evening, brothers. You guys doing? Hope everything is good. Has everyone got their copy of chapter approved? Ordered? You guys excited? Well, we are live. Restream chat. Cool. Good evening, Nick. The one person in chat. Good evening. How you doing, Nick? I'm sure some other people will be coming in. I am so stumped with these chapter approved rules, honestly. So here's a horrifically bad old metal Dreadnought. Here is a slightly less bad plastic Dreadnought. Let me put the light on so we can actually see what the fuck we're talking about. I say slightly less bad, it's still pretty bad. That silver needs a second coat for sure. Okay, see what we're playing with. I might proxy some venerable Dreadnoughts this week. Greetings, Highland Phoenix, how you doing? Let me see if I can make the chat a little bit bigger. It's just a little bit small on my screen. Appearance, is that what it is? Yeah. Make it 90%. Jones is not happy. And Tony is in the house. Good evening. If you want to jump on a call or anything, Tony, chat, you'd be welcome to. I ain't doing much. I'm kind of in a weird melancholy mood with the update, I guess. Like, it's hard to be upset. I didn't think we were gonna get that many positive changes. Sounds like the 3 changes they shared on the community post, that was it. Death Company, which I don't use because they can't perform actions and fall back, which I think is crap. Mephiston, which I don't use because I don't think he's that great. So it's another 6 months of mediocrity, I guess, guys. Do you have any thoughts on the Vindicator, except that it's swingy? I'm tempted to get one. Get the Vindicator Laser Destroyer. It's Forge World, but yeah, I mean, it's just a way more useful model, the Laser Destroyer, 100%. That's what you want to buy. Pay the extra money and get the Vindicator Laser Destroyer. At least the Laser Destroyer, I think you can field in lots of different armies. The regular Vindicator is a piece of shit. I have one of them and it never gets used. It's one of the many Space Marine tanks that was the reason that I was kind of melancholy about this update, because there's so many Space Marine things that just got ignored that are trash. Vindicator is one of them. Predator is obviously another one. I mean, a lot of our armor is suffering. I guess it's going to suffer for 6 months more. Fun times. I get the -2 points per model in the Death Company, but one of the new missions does not let you use Forlorn Fury? Really? Wow. That is dumb. Why? What's the rules in that new mission? Like, what, you just can't make pre-game moves or something? Oh, I don't like that. I mean, I don't even use Forlorn Fury and I don't like that. I think I'll be 10 points left on my list so I can get a grenade harness and another Inferno pistol back. I don't know if I'll be any points less. I think I'll have gone up points because I tend to run Redemptors, right? And Redemptors have gone up points. So I guess that's why I'm going to slap a few colors on these guys. I'm going to proxy them and see if Redemptors are still worth it. Because here's the thing. Redemptors it's the same shit as last time. Redemptors didn't need to go up in points, right? They got no invulnerable save, which is a huge weakness, and their main cannon is D6 shots, which is another huge weakness. So, like, why have they gone up 10 points? I don't get it. I mean, I lost a tour. Like, I pretty much lost. I could have gone 5-0 at a tournament recently, And I went 4 and 1 because the Redemptors, like, I got one shot in the plasma cannon and re-rolled it into 1. You know, the Redemptors would probably honestly be stronger if their macro plasma accelerator was just heavy 3. Because then at least you know what you're getting. Heavy D6 is just annoying, I guess. And swingy, I guess, which I don't like. I mean, yeah, I honestly think they'd be better with like heavy 3. No forward deploy or pre-game move. Wow, no forward deploy either. What the F is that? That's a curveball mission if I ever saw one. I need to check the pre-game time wording on that mission, methinks. How come your list's 14 points less then, Highland? What have you got that's gone down in points? Because I didn't think much changed. I mean, I guess Mephiston and Death Company, right? You got 7 Death Company and that's it? Alright, let me pull Tony in here. One second. Hello. Yeah, how you doing? Let me think about it.
That was a shit book, wasn't it?
Yeah, if people in the chat let me know if you can hear Tony. I think they can hear you, but maybe just need to wait a second for someone to confirm. How are you anyway, sir? You hear me all right?
I'm doing pretty well. I have to admit that I was quite upset with that book, to be honest. It really is not what we wanted for a £25 book, is it?
No, I mean, 2 parts, I guess. The community seems pretty upset in general, actually. But yeah, the cost of the book. I don't know if you watched the review on Tabletop Tactics, but they said the core rules aren't in that book anymore.
Yeah, you end up paying the same amount of money for a book with less stuff in it, and I think that's what people are really upset about. I mean, the points changes, let's be honest, nobody was expecting us to get like spectacular ones and build up our win rate from that, but I expected at least to get a vaguely good book.
Yeah, I mean, our win rate might go up because in some ways, like, I looked at Sisters and like Sacrosancts, which I already said to Andrew multiple times that I think were undercosted at 12 points per model. They got up 14 points per model. So, like, you know, if you're coming up against a Sisters player that's taken like what 20 Sacrosancts, that's 80 points more. You know, so in some ways our points changes our points staying static will help us in some situations. You know, like Morgan Val went up, the Sacrosancts went up, the Dominion squad went up. So like if you look at that sort of meta Sisters list that has Morgan Val, the Sacrosancts and Dominions with Multimeltas, right? Like that probably just went up like 100 maybe more points, right?
I mean, we had a couple of little nerfs, but I don't think they were too... If I'm honest, I don't think they were that big. Yeah, 10 points on the Redemptor. Yeah, okay, I can understand that. I don't think it was overcosted before, but... Sorry, undercosted before, but 10 points, I'll suck that up. And the same with the Contemptor, putting those guns up by 10 points. Well, we thought it might be something like that anyway. So I don't think the nerfs we've taken have been particularly bad. It's just we didn't gain anything out of that either.
Yeah, strange that they would leave Space Marine armor in such a terrible state for another 6 months. Like they must know no one's taking it, right? I mean, like in some ways, the Redemptor going up 10 points kind of makes you think that they know people. Like everybody's running Redemptors. Yeah, that's because the like tanks and Predators and Vindicators and all these things are fucking crap.
Yeah, a 10 or 15 point drop on the gladiators. You thinking about taking them now?
Do you know what? I was thinking that I'd do a math hammer video on those gladiators reasonably quickly or reasonably soon, because yeah, I don't think they're great, but I guess like if they continue to, they've dropped like 3 patches in a row now, so like at some point they might be starting to feel like okay, I guess, right?
I'm trying to remember where we put them, because we put one of them as actually not completely awful when we did our tier lists, and
I think it was the one
they've had a drop or so. So I wonder. I can't remember which one we said was all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna bash through the tier. Like someone in Discord, I think it was James Fisher, was asking me to like. I'm gonna try and put together the tier list stuff so it's a little bit easier to understand and break down quickly. So I'm gonna do that in the next couple of weeks, and then I guess we can start jumping into some of the new units. But in some ways, it just makes me feel like they want to sell gladiators and storm strikes, but storm speeders, is that what they're called? Storm speeders. But I mean, they're not really. They got other problems, right? Like for example, the storm speeder. Like, why would you take that over 2 land speeders? Because the storm speeder will get profiled, and then it'll be worse than the 2 land speeders 100% of the time. I actually, just before I jumped on the stream, I was looking at how many land speeders I had in the other room, because I was like, I have some land speeders. Maybe I actually need to give them a bit of consideration now that you need sort of vehicles or 3 models to do engage on all fronts, right?
I like the idea of using little 1 model units of land speeders to do engage.
Yeah, they can be pretty cheap.
I liked it before, and I like it more now.
Tarzan asks if Death Company are good now. He says, please say yes. I mean, they're better.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 points is not to be sniffed at, because on a 5-man unit, that's a 10 points. That's a decent number. If you're running a 10-man unit, like something Mental Rezial would run, that's another man in there near enough.
Yeah, I mean, on a 10-man squad, it's nice. On Primaris. On Primaris Death Company, I still don't know about Primaris Death Company. I think
still not running intercessors. I don't think they're good enough.
Yeah,
maybe if they got the rule that assault intercessors get about fighting twice.
Yeah, that would do it, wouldn't it? They wouldn't. All they would need is a new keyword, I think, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's.
I think if they got that assault, I think if they got the assault intercessor rule keyword, then they'll be able to use that strat, and I think that would make a big difference for them.
Yeah, that would be a huge difference for them, actually. Yeah, the video I put out complaining about like these rules needing to become digital actually got some like dislikes and stuff, and I was like, that's fair enough, you know, not everybody wants the rules to go digital, but like when they release rules like this that are like 6 months out of date, you know, like because they're debuffing Plague Burst crawlers, or they're making Plague Burst crawlers cheaper, like I'm like, hello, everybody will just run 3. There's literally no reason now not to run 3 Plague Burst crawlers.
Reason not to run 3 Plague Burst crawlers before, to be honest. I think they were probably one of, if not the best unit in that codex.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you look at the win rates and that, Death Guard were in a good place. They were sitting on a 50% win rate, which is about probably what you want to be on.
Yeah, well, 50% is where you'd want every faction.
Yeah. Someone did some maths, and apparently you want them to sit on 51% is actually the point where balance is, because the 1% counts for the start first thing.
All right, okay, sure.
But so if they're sitting on about what they should be, then leave them alone.
Yeah.
You know, we think Plague Burst crawlers were a bit undercosted before, and now we think they're really undercosted. But even if they were undercosted, the win rate for the faction was still about where it should be. So leave it. Yeah, it's weird, and I'm genuinely annoyed about the Custodes changes. Not because I think that they needed a buff or didn't need a buff or any of that stuff. It's just that I bought this book literally a week ago. I rushed out, got to the shop, picked up the book, and I've had it for a week, and it's out of date. And that's just disgusting. That.
And I actually, based on what I'm hearing about Custodes, I actually think that the points changes, reducing them, are going to be. They're going to be like Custodes are going to be a heavy hitter for a while. Like, I don't actually think they needed those points decreases based on the rules in the new book.
No, I don't. And they're on really strange places because they've clearly not been play tested.
Yeah, it's
So there were some options that nobody's going to take, but we don't know that for sure till we've got a few tournaments out of the way and someone go, hang on, these units aren't getting played, these units are getting a bit too much play. I think the free Misericordia for everybody, that's absolutely spot on, that's where it should be. Even if they want to cost it so everyone has to pay for a Misericordia, it doesn't make any sense that they wouldn't take it considering it's part of their standard equipment. Rezi was saying Alaris Terminators are too cheap. I'm not sure about that. I think they were probably about right. Trajan, I absolutely agree. I think he is far too cheap. And I think the bikes didn't need a points decrease anywhere, and I certainly don't think the bike captain needed a points decrease.
Trajan is cheaper than Dante now with those points decreases, right?
Yeah.
Is Dante stronger than Trajan?
He's faster than Trajan. And he can deep strike.
Yeah. How many turns of combat does he survive against Trajan?
Yeah. About 30 seconds, I would give him.
Yeah. That's what I figured he'd have. I am going to finish painting this one Volkite Contemptor arm, but I think if I'm going to run a Volcon now, it's most likely going to be it's going to be one Contemptor in my army and just one Volcon arm. You know that?
Yeah, if it's where I've been for a while actually. I do have 2 Volkites to put on my Contemptor, but I don't like running it. It feels wrong. I like being able to march them into the midfield and then get it tied up. So the one Volkite and the Chain Fist I think is where it's at. I still don't like the Cyclone Missile though. I think it's too many points.
I mean, it is and it isn't, I guess, because like a missile launcher costs like 15, right? And the Cyclone gets double hits, I guess.
Yeah, but a missile launches too many points at 15 as well.
Yeah.
Panelist
Panelist says
20.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna get some fresh water. I'll be literally 1 minute, okay? Maybe not even that, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I've seen the Death Shrouds are at 55 points. A lot of people are saying about that, but I don't know. The Death Shrouds to me are still a really scary unit. I would say they're one of the best units that the Death Guard have got. They're a lot tougher than Alaris Terminators. Yeah, Alaris Terminators at the moment, apart from having the extra little bit of a wound, seem to be less tough than your basic infantry. Which seems really weird to me that the Alaris Terminators are your less durable unit than your basic infantry.
Question, Tony, do you play... You typically don't run Death Company, right?
No, not really. I've been known to run a little 5-man with a single Thunderhammer. I'm not a fan of things that are kind of one-shot weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I
play a bit too cagey for that sort of stuff.
Oh, is this paint gone all hard? Interesting. Yeah, I don't run Death Company, or I haven't run Death Company in the last... I don't know the last time I ran Death Company. I don't even know if I ran them in 2020, honestly. Or 2021. So, like, are these changes going to make me now take Death Company? I don't know.
Maybe. I think they're not bad. I don't think they're a bad unit at all. They never were a bad unit. I think they're a good one. It's just kind of on how you play.
It annoys me that they can't perform actions, you know that?
Yeah. I think you said earlier about Custodes changing up the way people play, and I think they will. A lot of people are quite upset about them at the moment, and I can sort of see it, but I do think once the meta sort of settles down a bit, that they're going to be dropping back off the meta. I think the problem with them is that for some armies, they're incredibly difficult to deal with. You know, for Blood Angels, for example, really struggle because the Custodes are fantastic against people attacking them in melee.
Yeah, then you need weight of fire to
where
kill
where
the
they struggle
Custodes.
Where they struggle is getting shot because they don't like it. They haven't got anything really to retaliate with. They really struggle against toughness 8 things. And my new favourite anti-Custodes weapon that someone else in the Discord has pointed out, and I'm going to talk about this properly in the Custodes episode if we get around to it, the Thunderhawk gunship.
You have a hard-on for the Thunderhawk gunship, you know that, right?
Well, everyone's got a hard-on for the Thunderhawk gunship. But, hear me out. Toughness 8.
Yeah.
Most of the Custodes weapons are... Well, all of the Custodes weapons, more or less, are strength 8 or below. So they never wound it on anything better than a 4. They can't melee it, apart from with the bikes. So if you kill the bikes, they're boned. And you've got something that's going to fly around, blowing them up when they can't respond to it.
Well, you say it's going to fly around. There's actually going to be nowhere on the battlefield that you're going to be able to deploy it. So, I mean, that's going to be your first problem.
That is a problem. Do you know we've had to house rule it in our local gaming group now? We've got a house rule of that one's stupid. That whole, if you can't deploy it, you've got to deploy it and it can't do anything for turn 1. We've said it can't do anything for turn 1, but to represent the fact it's arriving, you can't kill it on turn 1 either. So it's invulnerable for turn 1. You know where it's coming on.
That's
and
fair
I just
enough.
think that seems a bit fairer, because the whole point is it's supposed to represent flying in on that first turn.
Yeah.
So if it's flying in, you can't shoot it down. And that seems to make a difference, because it also means that things like those stupid Mastodon tanks can actually be played.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I noticed there
which
was
is nice, because it's fun having the really big stuff in there.
I noticed there was a new rule about you're able to remove a piece of terrain from your deployment zone to place a fortification, but it's like they didn't think that through, did they? They should have just been like, you can remove one piece of terrain if you wanted to place a fortification or a large model, right? Because like that could have fixed that whole problem. Like,
Which
hey,
certainly would have helped that problem.
Yeah, I've got a large model, like a falchion or something. I really want to play it, but it's not going to fit very well into my deployment zone with all this terrain, so I'll just remove this one piece. And in some ways, you're giving yourself a disadvantage, right? If you remove terrain from your own deployment zone, you're essentially giving yourself a disadvantage, because there's less things that you guys can hide behind. So they should have... That's the whole problem with the paper rule set. You know, like if that was digital, they could just instantly go, yeah, okay, that makes sense. It should have probably been big vehicles as well. Just change it in 2 seconds flat. It was a website
absolutely.
like Wapedia or something, you know?
It's why we had to house rule it, because I like seeing the big vehicles on the table.
Yeah.
I think they're cool. And if someone spent £200+ on a model, you want them to be able to use it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you 100%.
Yeah, Rezi was saying who's going to run the Astraeus now. I'm not going to lie, that 75-point drop has made me want to run it exactly the same amount as I did previously, which is a lot. I just can't afford it.
I didn't realise the Astraeus had gone down in points.
Yeah, 75-point drop.
Is it the only super heavy that dropped?
Hang on, I've got the list somewhere.
That's actually not bad, because I actually think the Astraeus is reasonably competitive. Like, 75 points less, you could make it competitive.
Yeah.
It's got void shields. It's got like 30 wounds, toughness 8.
It wasn't crap before. It suffers from giant vehicle problems.
Yeah, I mean, all super heavies tend to suffer from giant vehicle problems, though. I mean, I guess that's what Rezio was saying in the chat. That,
it is... We're not the optimal chapter for it, but I still subscribe to the idea that we are a Codex compliant chapter. We just have our own little sprinklings on top.
yeah, and I mean, if you've got
We do need the big tanks, do need the big guns.
if you've got a Tep Marine there, it's not really the end of the world, is it? You're still going to hit everything on 2s, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can also play Machine Spirit on it, so even if it's on 1 wound left, you can still hit shit on 2s.
Highland saying about the Assault Centurions and a Land Raider. Yeah, I'm going to definitely, one of these days, I'm going to build that. I want 5 Assault Centurions and a Land Raider Crusader with Brother Corbulo.
It doesn't work. Do you know what? We talked about that before. It doesn't work because Centurions aren't core. So Corbulo
Does
can't put...
Corbulo only affect core then?
He does,
I thought it
yeah.
affected everything, his aura of...
Core and characters, I'm pretty sure I checked it, so you... As great a tactic as that sounds, I don't think it's actually going to work. You're just going to have to wait till turn 3, I guess. So if you've got a Land Raider with Centurions in it, you just have to wait till turn 3.
You're not going to be able to get them in combat before turn 3 anyway, are you?
You might get them in combat in turn 2, but I mean, they probably still kill everything that they get into combat with in turn 2, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's only for silly value.
Yeah, it's only for... Like, 3 Centurions get 16... Or 3 Centurions, I think, gets 16 attacks in turn 3, so it must be like 13 attacks in turn 2. So if you had 5 Centurions, you're still getting like 20 attacks, hitting on 3s, and then pretty much wounding everything in the game on 2s. That's the... And they're all like minus...
You are right. Corbulo only has... is only core. Oh, that shat on my Death Star of trying to kill Warlord Titans.
David says, Blood Angels need guns because too many units beat us in close quarters combat. And I think you're 100% right. Blood Angels do need some guns. I often find that the way that we have to win as Blood Angels in close combat, we can win that way, but the way that we have to win is we have to dictate who fights and where, because most of our units will have jump packs. So like sometimes it's very much just make sure that you decide where the combat happens, which you can kind of do if you're an experienced player, I guess. And that's how you win games, or at least that's how I win games, I guess.
Mark's just joined us in the chat and having a little dig at your Corbulo pronunciation there.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, tell you what, when you can finally when Games Workshop look at his points cost and realise it's bad and that he's not worth fielding, and they change him to be worth fielding, whenever that may be, I'll pronounce his name correctly. How about that? I can't believe that they only changed Mephiston. Like, all of our other named characters, I could go through every single one of them and tell you the problems with all of them and why they're overcosted, but they only changed...
I think it was a fair change to Mephiston. I don't think I would have taken any more off his points cost.
I don't know. I guess a fair change would be like... A fair change would have...
140 points, and I think that seems pretty reasonable.
I
wish he had damage 3.
For a character with D3 damage and no invulnerable save.
Yeah, but he's got the 5+. He is still quite powerful. The problem is his weapon's too swingy. Yeah, we were saying that we reckon he'd be balanced 155 with a D3 with a flat 3 weapon.
Yeah, that's his problem. He can't guarantee he's going to kill anything because he's D3 weapons, so you can't charge any big nasty targets.
Maybe at 100.
I just cut Tony off. I was going to try and close Discord because, of course, it's making pinging noises.
He's got more of a shout than he did before.
I need to mute Discord for a little. Like, not you, Tony, but I need to... I'm hearing pings while I'm streaming, so I'm trying to stop that. I think we're going to have to run gladiators by bringing them... thinking we're going to run gladiators by bringing them down and bringing redemptors up, all while the hammerhead is running at 160 points. What's the hammerhead? The storm speeder hammerhead?
No, that's the stupid Tau railgun caddy. Highland's asking about those Hawaiian shirts. Did you see them? They were posting them in the Discord earlier.
I did see them. Yeah. I'm not sure.
If it wasn't £39, I would have already bought it.
Is there a way to make Discord stop making pings when you're...
Yeah, put streamer mode on.
How do I do that?
So if you go into the settings on the bottom left-hand side, user settings.
All right.
And then it's in there.
I got it. Cool. Yeah, I mean, Mephiston, Steel Rain's 100% right. Mephiston has other problems beyond his points cost. If he'd been given damage 3 and stayed at 100, I'd honestly probably more likely have included him if he'd stayed damage 3 and stayed at 155 points. Just because you can at least then math out like what he's going to do, and he's going to be good against those -1 damage enemies. Whereas like, you know, I guess he's just not good against -1 damage enemies at the moment. Like D3 just doesn't feel good against them, and he doesn't have enough weight of fire and attacks to make it reliable. So like,
feels better than flat 2.
Well, sure, slightly. I guess it's like what?
It gives you a 33% chance of not only doing 1 damage, which is better than a poke in the eye.
But I mean, even if you get a perfect roll, he only gets like 9 or 10 attacks, right? So like, it's not.
Yeah.
You don't have weight of fire to make the D3 reliable, I guess. I feel a little bit sad that the only character that they changed was Mephiston. I really think they could have given all of our characters a look over. They could have just looked at how few of them actually get picked.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, tinfoil hat. If you put that on, you can see that the our only Primaris character got a drop.
Yeah, that was.
And none of our Firstborn stuff at all, apart from Centurion Devastators, which I still think are way too expensive, have taken any drops at all. And all the Primaris stuff took a huge drop.
Centurion Devastators are a joke. Their points cost, honestly. I mean, they had to go up so much because like they were broken for Ultramarines, but I guess that's a problem with like Codex compliant and stuff. I
mean, even with their drop, I still think they're crap for us.
Yeah, they are. I was actually kind of secretly hoping we might get like a 5-point drop on like Assault Centurions, and I would be all over them again because I love my Assault Centurions. But no such luck.
So I think I was just trying to work it out, but I think the Lancer was the one that we liked before for the Gladiators, or we said wasn't actually that awful. We put it in B tier last time, I think. I'm looking at we put it as a B tier last time. So a 15-point drop on it.
The Lancer is the one with the Laser Destroyer, is it?
I think it's that one. Yeah, I'm trying to work it out because. So
what's its actual new point cost?
So its actual new points cost is 165.
Let's have a look at this shit.
So it's dropped from 180 to 165.
And what is it? Toughness 8, 12 wounds. Is the Laser Destroyer, which is Strength 10 -3, D3 +3, and it gets to hit with the Laser Destroyer on 2s, doesn't it? Without a Tech Marine, I guess. So got anything else? A Stormbolter? Two Stormbolters.
It's a Primaris tank, so it's got loads of crap little guns all over it.
You kind of have to pay 5 points to give it the smoke screen, though.
Yeah, but
which is just stupid. It should just
why are you
have.
going to smoke screen it?
Well, so it doesn't get fucking shot off the table in one turn by Tau.
Well, not being funny, but they get to re-roll hits anyway. -1 to hit ain't going to be enough to save that bastard from that.
Sometimes -1 to hit can save things. You'd be surprised.
Maybe. I don't know, but yeah, so it's going to be 165 points. So say 170 if you want to put your smoke screen on it, because you're a pussy. We've got a Laser Destroyer, which is a pretty decent gun. Yeah, it's D3 +3, Strength 10, Heavy 2, hitting on 2s.
How many points is this compared to the Vindicator Laser Destroyer then?
I'll get that, because I've been thinking Vindicator Laser Destroyer as well, and trying to find excuses to buy one.
Highland Phoenix, you're in chat. You run a Vindicator Laser Destroyer. How does this compare to Laser Destroyer?
It's 10 points cheaper than the Vindicator Laser Destroyer, that.
Okay, but it gets one less shot, right? Because the Laser Destroyer...
Yeah, one less shot.
It has 72 inches on range, and the Laser Destroyer only has 36, right?
It does, although the Laser Destroyer is a flat 6 damage.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So it's got one more wound. It's a bit quicker because it's a floaty tank. Same toughness. the gun gets 1 less shot and it's only D3 plus 3.
But it's 2s rather than 3s, so you kind of almost gonna have 3 shots hitting on 3s. 2 shot. I guess 3 shots hitting on 3s is statistically slightly better than 2 shots hitting on 2s.
Maybe. And then you vindicate the problem is if you move it, then it takes a mortal wound when you shoot it.
Okay.
And none of the other.
Chat still don't like it. Chat still don't like it.
Chat still don't like it. I'm going to come back to chat and see why I'm...
Does the storm speeder point drop plus the changes to engage on all fronts make them actually viable now? I mean,
no.
Why would you not just take 2 land speeders? Because the storm speeder will get profiled, right? So 2 land speeders will always be better, because you'll make the enemy have to shoot at 2 targets. They'll waste shots. They'll waste damage.
The problem with the storm speed has always been nothing to do with the points cost, really. They've always been a bit too expensive, but it's been that really weird, like no complete lack of synergy between the guns, the profiling.
Yeah, sorry. Can we skip back to what we were saying just before we went on to the Gladiator? How we said that. So essentially, the Gladiators changed, the Storm Speeders changed, Mephiston changed. Death Company Intercessors changed and Death Company changed. So basically, like, 4 out of those 5 changes were Primaris stuff.
Yeah.
This
I've got the list here of just Space Marine stuff in general. And looking at drops, all 3 Storm Speeders, all 3 Gladiators, the Centurion Devastators, Mephiston, Death Company Intercessors, Standard Death Company, and then random weird crap for Dark Angels and Space Wolf lovers. You know, Wolfen got a ridiculous points drop. 2 points off their base cost to 20, and they get Thunder Hammers for 10 points a pop.
I saw that the Thunderwolf Cavalry, which people have asked me before, they're like, how do I deal with Thunderwolf Cavalry? They got a drop as well.
Down to 40 points.
Yeah, I'm surprised not more of our Firstborn stuff got looked at. You know, like, it's all fine and well that they're upgraded in the Primaris and stuff, but like, it would have been nice if it felt like our Firstborn stuff had at least had a little bit of a pass over it. Because it just feels like nobody bothered. You know, like, if anyone was playing Space Marines, vehicles and armor for the last 6 months, for the last year, in fact, you know, they would know that they're in a completely crap position. And like, it's not that Dreadnoughts are too cheap, it's everything else is crap. Like, why are you gonna... Like, everything, the rest of the stuff is just crap, man.
Plus 10 points to the Primaris Chaplain, I think, is probably fair. I think he was a bit too much of an auto take, and he was maybe a little bit undercosted. So I think that's a fair...
I don't know. I think he's only an auto take if you're a noob like you. I'm joking.
Well, not everybody likes running the Chapter Master on a bike.
No, I guess... I wonder
it's a
if...
shit model.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest model. I wonder if the Primaris Chaplain going up 10 points makes regular captains on a bike a little bit more exciting.
I think it might do, and I think it also brings more of a place for other chaplains. Because at the moment, you look at any other chaplain and you go, yeah, but I can have a Primaris Chaplain on a bike for 115 points.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, and he is by far the best chaplain just because of his survivability, I guess, and his... I like how they can advance 20 inches guaranteed, and when you advance them like that, you can play skillful riders on them and make them -1 to hit. I really like that. So it's like, if any turn you don't really know what you want to do with them, you know you want to advance them, but you're not, or you know you're not going to get into combat. You're just like, well, I'm just going to advance, and then you can, if you need to, you can like -1 them to hit, and then you can also transhuman them. So I guess that's probably why the chaplain and the bike took the 10-point hit. I'm okay with that.
It's all about the fact you can make him just as tough as your unkillable Chapter Master for 115 points.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
And he's not quite as killy, and he's not quite as reliable, but he's 115 points. And if you just want to have someone to drive around punching things or holding things up and being a bit of a distraction, I think he's your man.
Yeah.
Chat like Astrath, I still think he's way too many points.
He's too many points in that he can get picked off.
Yeah, toughness 4, too many points. He's going to die.
I mean, I guess if you play against enough meta armies that they can just, like... The amount of games I've been in where, like, the enemy just have enough firepower to, like, completely... So, like, usually, like, my chapter master would be, like, with a squad of Sanguinary Guard, you know, like 6 of them, or... Sometimes he'd be with more than 6, sometimes he'd be with, like, 5 Blade Guard veterans. And then, like, usually I'll be in a game where the enemy... Because I play against a lot of meta lists... Usually I'll be in a game where the enemy just have enough to just like completely delete the entire squad that they're with, and then they can just openly target the character. And if he's a toughness 4 character with a 4-up save, he isn't gonna, like, single metal gun shot's gonna take him out. And you know, like, I had to play
one roll on a 4-up, and a 4-up is great, but it is swingy. You either don't take any damage or you die.
Yeah, well, I mean.
Being wounded on a 2 with a chance of just auto dying.
The reason I stopped running the toughness 4 characters was because, like, well, you saw what I was playing against. Andrew was running fucking 18 Eradicators in the list. So, like, it didn't really matter how many models I had around my characters. If you've got 18 Eradicators and you've got them in a death ball where you're rerolling ones to hit and you're rerolling ones to wound, if they ever can see your squad and your character, then you can just lift them off the board, unless you're running, like, that bite character that can do, like, that 3-up shenanigans and get free rerolls on the saves and all that sort of nonsense. I don't know.
It's not being wounded on a 2 that's so important to me.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a big difference as well. It just cuts down 16% damage coming in as well, but yeah. So, like, sometimes I get Astrath's probably like, if you just want to do raw DPS, I get Astrath is probably the best character to just do raw DPS. But if you want to survive, then it's not Astrath.
I'm not a fan of Smash characters, to be honest. I don't really run many of them.
Yeah, I mean, Smash characters were better in previous editions, I guess, was the way to look at it. But yeah, I mean, there's So tell me, did you buy the book then? Yeah.
Yeah, I've pre-ordered that just in time for our stream on the 3rd.
Nice.
And then I can hate myself for. I mean, I was disgusted with the last book that I bought. If you remember when we got them, we bought them to do a stream on. Then we thought they were so shit it was embarrassing to do a stream on them. And yeah, and this one, if it's even thinner than the last one, I genuinely feel that I've been robbed.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like them consciously only changing Primaris points is a huge kick in the teeth to, like, you know, like, I'm in a group with all the plastic crackheads, and I was complaining earlier. I was like, this is so stupid. Like, they've just ignored a lot of Space Marine units that are completely trash. Again, you know, for the 2nd year running now. And one of the guys was like, well, you can play them. And I was like, yeah, sure, you can play them if you want to lose. You know, like, they're just...
Tabletop Tactics had a good roundup on that I was watching. I think you watched it as well, and they were saying, but the thing is that people seem to misunderstand the point of these points changes, and they're not to buff weaker armies and nerf stronger ones. They're really there just to things that everyone's using, stop them and make them use other things that they're not using. So the whole purpose is not to balance Space Marines better, it's to get people to buy more Gladiators and Storm Speeders, because they're not selling well. The actual balance of it is largely irrelevant, which is upsetting, but it does seem to be the way it is.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, Highland, I know it's £25 I'm never going to see again, and it's entirely John's fault. I've bought this book because John and Mark wanted to do a stream on it, and that means that I've had to buy this and support their bullshittery. Bastards.
I think, you know, I made in my video a few weeks ago, I talked about going to some sort of digital format, and like that video generally got dislikes on it. So some people were like, no, I really like the books, and I was like, yeah, but the problem with the books is they're out of date before you get it. But maybe that's not even the problem. Maybe the problem is like if you do a ballads pass, surely you have to look at every unit. You don't just go, oh well, we want to sell more gladiators and we want to sell more whatever it is, Mephistons, so we'll just make them cheaper. It's like, come on.
Well, that's the thing. This isn't a balance pass. This is a how can we make something sell more pass.
But that's not what it was advertised as. It was advertised as competitive seasons.
But they're not going to do that, are they? They're not going to go around going, look, we've changed all these points things because these are expensive and nobody's buying them.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think there would be mileage in the Firstborn stuff if they gave it good rules, though. Here's the thing, right? Like, if they just went, like, you know, the video I made this week, if they just went, right, like, Predators, Predators could have probably been 100 points, and they'd probably not be overpowered because, you know, they don't have good wounds, they don't have an armor save, they don't have toughness, their guns are all swingy as hell, so you could probably make Predators 100 points, right? And they probably wouldn't even be overpowered. So I guess my point is that, like, if we're gonna have this like competitive season approach, then things like Predators or things that are not in the meta need to actually, like, a better thing to do would not have been to raise the, because like Redemptors again don't have an invulnerable save. 185 points on a model that, I suppose that's 185 points before you put rocket pods and all that nonsense on it right now, right? So
yeah,
so what is a Redemptor now? 195 points. 195 points for a model that has no invulnerable save and can get basically one shot by a Tau cannon. You know, like, I don't know if that was the problem. I think the reason everybody's running Redemptors is because there's a lot of other stuff in the book that's just trash, right? It's not that Redemptors are overpowered.
And they were undercosted or anything. We were running them because everything else was too shit to run. But
yeah, I don't think Space Marines have been winning many tournaments, I'll tell you that.
No. You know, Reziel's hit the same thing that I've been thinking as well. I like physical books, I really do. I love reading all the lore. I know you don't because you're too hardcore for me, but I like sitting down. When I get a new book, I read it from cover to cover and I enjoy the lore and all the pretty models and stuff like that. But they need to start separating out the kind of competitive side to the lore side. You know, and I'll buy the book and I'll read the stuff, but I want my points updated in the app constantly and fixed for competitive balance. Not this selling me a book for £25 with the latest points increases in and a couple of missions is just silly.
Well, that was the thing that Tabletop Tactics said. He was like, if you only play a one army, you literally need 2 pages out of this book or something, and he was saying if it's more than £10, it's probably too expensive. So, spoiler, the book was £25.
I genuinely thought when I first saw it advertised it was going to be more like those Octarius books that they were coming out. You know, it was good. Right. I thought it'll be £25, but I was expecting a big hardback book with a load of fluff and some maps in it and a bit of a campaign, and then these new missions, and that would be like the latter half of the book.
Oh yeah, because they did that before.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I was expecting. I thought, oh well, they thought those little pamphlets were a bit crap last time, so they're going to roll them in with the campaign book, which would be nice. But no, they didn't. They've just re-released the pamphlet, made it a bit shitter, and charged the same amount of money, which was too much before.
Yeah. It's really strange, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The way I'm viewing it now is it's a £25 tax on competitive players. If you're a tournament or competitive player, you have to pay a £25 tax to be in the ecosystem.
Every 6 months. It's like a competitive subscription, I guess.
Yeah, it's a subscription to play competitive tournaments for them.
Well, for one, I dislike this, but I actually dislike their app as well. Like, I don't like the user interface in the app. I actually don't use the app. I dislike it that much. I still use Battlescribe on the PC. I wish that they would actually come out with a decent desktop app. That's probably what it should be. You know, like, a good, like a better mobile app, one where like it's just easier to navigate and get around stuff, and then also like an actual proper desktop app. That would be where you know, like they could almost post like patch notes like a video game where it's like, all right, we've increased, you know, some of the games that I used to play, like I used to play MOBAs and stuff, and sometimes they would give you like a designer commentary, which was really interesting. You know, it's like, hey, we've increased this spell because reasons. Yeah. And then people can go like, all right, yeah, you know, like we've increased the Redemptor Dreadnought for 10 points because in this matchup it was way too powerful, for example. I don't think the Redemptor was too powerful, but using it as an example, right?
They used to have a desktop app many years ago. They used to sell it. You used to buy this like CD-ROM, and it had like I remember there was a Chaos one, and I think there was a Space Marine one, and it had a couple of armies. It was just a whole desktop experience.
Yeah, so I would love to see like a thing like that where they actually give you like, you know, like not just like, because I mean we're all here speculating, right? But like, and obviously there's like, what, how many people in chat? 70 people in chat. Does anyone in chat think that there is a reason beyond selling models that it's the Gladiator and the Storm Strike that got points cost decrease on Space Marines? Like, does anyone think that
they were massively overcosted before?
I mean, yeah, but like,
I mean,
those are the two things that got changed, and all the other Firstborn stuff that
defenders, were they?
Are they Land Raiders, Repulsors? Repulsor's probably actually the worst defender, dude. Because Repulsors are about definitely 1 billion points last time I checked.
Yeah, and it's got 1 billion guns and data sheets 3 miles long, and no one can fucking understand it.
Honestly, if you play a Repulsor, you forget some of the weapons to shoot because you've got so many guns. But they're all stupid, like... That was another thing with Repulsors, you know, like Space Marines use bolt guns, but then when we get to Repulsor, oh, we've got a heavy stubber, and we've got an Iron Tail stubber, and we've got a rear-mounted stubber, and it's like, where bolter's not good enough anymore, they had to get the stubbers out.
Because it really pisses Mark off.
Oh, I hate my Repulsor.
He really hates anything having stubbers that aren't guard.
Rescue us this, why do Marines have stubbers? I guess just to fuck with you. Matt says the reason that the Gladiators and Storm Speeders have gone down is so that the Hammerheads have something to shoot at. That's the best reason I've heard.
Fuck it, I'm bringing intercessors.
That's the best reason I've heard. You get a gold star. Nuck and Fut says that the Repulsor also has 67 Fragstorm launchers, which, when you math out, actually do no damage because it's like strength 4, no AP. And
yeah, Mark's saying about the big long lead time, and that absolutely is a factor, but not for like Custodes. That means that they would have had the points changes 3 months, 4 months before the Custodes book come out. So that's not been play tested. That's just mental. And that really pisses me off, that. Yeah,
from what I understand, so I'm going to play Andrew at Custodes on Monday night, but Andrew apparently tabled Colin's Ultramarines in 45 minutes with the Custodes. He said that like they're just flat out broken, and that was before they dropped all these point costs on them, like I mean, can't believe they dropped the Telemons cost more, because Telemons are horrific. If you compare them to Leviathan, I mean, you know, like this week was kind of...
more of a problem for the Leviathan than the Telemon, though. The Leviathan, people were quite excited when it got such a big points drop rolling back into 9th, but the Leviathan should still be toughness 8 and heavy support. And if it was a toughness 8 heavy support, I'd take that, I'd play that.
Steel Rain says that for $5, the worst problem with Primaris is that no one brings up is they're obviously trying to replace Firstborn stuff, but none of it nearly does the same thing. I mean, I think you're right, Steel Rain, and I thank you for the $5, but I've brought up the thing that I don't like about the replacement, or the Primaris replacement of Firstborn, is the complete lack of weapon options that we get now. Oh, Mark, you can join.
Yeah,
We're in
I think
Discord
it's
admin room if you want. You know,
Yeah,
like,
Mark, if you're about, join us in. Just top into the chat.
did Contemptors lose core, or has there not that happened? I think
No.
Contemptors. I think the Volkite cannons have gone up 10 points per arm. Is that right?
It seems to be right.
Don't think anything else has changed with them, bar the Volkite cannons have gone up 10 points per arm. Which I think is, if you're going to run a single Volkite arm, and do you know what, right before the stream as well, I was seeing if I can run a Contemptor with one Volkite arm and a Cyclone Missile Launcher and a combat weapon. So I honestly think I'll probably end up maybe dropping a Redemptor and just running a Contemptor like that, because then I'll be able to keep my list because the point costs are similar. I think a Contemptor with one Volkite arm, the Cyclone Missile Launcher, and a combat weapon. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but I think that's going to be 180 points. Because the Contemptor chassis will be 140. The Volkite will be 15, the Cyclone will be 25, and the combat weapon is free?
Yes, I think so. And I think that's probably the loadout to do. The Cyclone's still debatable. Some people really like them. I don't.
They do work against models that don't have invulnerable saves. They can be very clutch.
Yeah, I like to keep mine cheap and just chuck it into combat and things like that, though, which is why I find them, I think, less good, I think.
Well, you can still chuck it in combat while dealing out 5 mortal wounds to an enemy. I mean, that's fine. I mean, here's the question, right? I just said to you, like, the problem I have with the Redemptors is the plasma cannon is so swingy. So, like, at a clutch point in the game, when you need the plasma to get like 3 shots and you get 1 shot, you know, like, how is that any more swingy?
One off of it.
How is that any more swingy than like 8 shots coming out of a Volcon for arguably cheaper now?
I'm going to change the admin channel to be called Chapter Command so people can't take the piss at me. Rezil, cheers.
Good evening, Mark. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm
So
alright.
we had a comment in the chat from Yano Mamo 89. It says, "You like your space vampires, don't you?" Yes, Yano Mamo. We do like our space vampires. On the Blood Angels channel, we definitely like Blood Angels.
Yeah. That's why we're here.
Twilight Space Angel Vampires, thank you very much.
Yeah, sparklier the better.
Good evening from Northern Ireland. Hey, Gary. Good evening from Scotland, and I guess you guys are both in England, right?
Yeah. Like the civilized part of the world.
Harsh. I always joke when people ask where I'm from. I just say north of the wall. It's accurate. I mean, there is a wall, right?
There is.
I mean, I think the wall was built in about 1200 BC or something, but I mean, there is a wall. At some point in our history, you guys thought, fuck it, we've had enough of those Scots.
Yeah, it's designed to keep people from Glasgow away from the rest of the civilized world.
Yeah. People in Glasgow are insane. I mean, that is actually a thing.
We've got quite a few people about looking at this. We've got David Bowles in Boston. Hello, David. Aberdeen from Jackson the Bruisers. Jacobs in Stockholm. Oh, I like Stockholm. I went there.
Gary in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, Gary in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, we have a very multinational Blood Angels community. It's kind of cool. And this week has been a good week for the 3 grots. Does one of you guys want to plug it while we're here?
More so than we have. Yeah, come and watch 3 grots if you get a chance, and even throw us a subscription, because we all had to buy that terrible book just for content for you guys, and we need to pick me up.
We all did buy that terrible book.
Speaking of the book, did you notice if you bought it from Element, you won't get it till the 4th of... they won't dispatch it till the 4th of February.
I'm not that I did notice that they had a bad date on it, but I thought I'm not that worried about getting it sooner, you know?
Something else funny happened today. I don't know if you guys noticed or caught this. There's a YouTube channel called Guerrilla Miniatures Gaming. They do a lot of early preview stuff for content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't quite realise that the Tau book isn't up for pre-order yet, so they put their video for the Tau Codex up this morning at 10 AM. And it was up for about an hour for people to watch, download and review and stuff before they went, oh shit, this is too early, we've broken the embargo and pulled it.
Oh, really?
Oops.
Yeah.
They're in trouble.
Someone's going to get their arse spanked.
I like that channel as well. That's a
Yeah.
good channel, that. We've got quite a few more here, innit? What we got? Denmark, Copenhagen. The Americans want a wall around California.
Wasn't that like a
London.
movie with Kurt Russell from the 80s, or was it New York they built the war around?
Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
Escape from LA and New York were fucking good films.
No,
Yeah.
Escape from New York was a fucking good film. Escape from LA was awful.
They definitely, there was a wall around New York. Was there a wall around LA as well? I don't remember. It's been a long time since.
Didn't need one. It had the because it was Manhattan. It wasn't
Oh
the whole
yeah. There was no wall. I still think they might have talked about a wall in the cheesy intro for that movie.
Like that big wall over the bridges, didn't they? And they mined all the. I'm a huge John Carpenter fan.
Yeah,
and
me
Kurt
too.
Russell as well. I've been working hard on growing a full Kurt Russell mullet at the moment.
Sorry, Smithy, I didn't download it. I started watching it, and then 10 minutes in, he was talking all this Tau stuff, and I got bored and turned it off.
Harsh.
What else have we got going on? We've got Denmark. I've said that. Gothenburg in Sweden.
Hello from Tampa, Florida, aka Ultramar. Why is
Rondi Vabros. I don't know where that is. Tennessee, Vegas, baby.
We always have Dave Pikey in from Vegas. LVO's just this week, isn't it?
Yeah.
LVO is not. It's not this weekend. It's next weekend.
Next weekend, is it?
So there'll be some big reveal stream, something article, whatever the hell they choose to do next weekend.
Quebec, Canada.
There we go, everywhere.
Pennsylvania. There's some cool stuff here. Tampa, Florida.
I was going to say, so is anyone in the chat really pleased with the chapter approved? Is anyone very excited? Is anyone thinking this is great? How are you thinking about it, Mark? We haven't really had a chance for you to tell us on stream what you think of it yet.
No, not at all, Rez. Don't worry, dude, at all. You've been talking an awful lot today, and I don't know if that's because you've been on the energy drinks or something. So I don't know if a bee's got you on it or something.
Dude,
it's cool. It's cool to see you interacting all that much. Yeah, I think like you're a bit underwhelmed, really.
Smithy, somebody had it on YouTube, but none of us have it yet. But yeah, I think the general consensus.
Yeah, so the people who have got chapter approved in their hands today are people who Games Workshop like and send advanced copies of books to review for, and then what happens is the day they go live for pre-orders, a week before release, the embargo for video coverage on them or online coverage tends to be 10 AM GMT, and at that point all the various web links go live and YouTube links go live, or a little bit later if people are behind the time and whatnot. So nobody's illegitimately got copies of chapter approved in hand. This is all provided by GW, and it's all marketing that they've asked for, basically.
Yeah. Well, so we're still getting loads of people saying where they're from. We've got what's that? Tampa, Florida, France.
Ooh, where in France?
Where's Gothland, Smithy? I
think
Freedom Country. So more Americans. A lot of Americans. Arkansas. Isn't that where Batman puts the Joker?
That's Gotham. That's modelled on Chicago. Smithy, what's the point in having them leaked? They're legitimately out there, and people are legitimately flipped through the book page by page on YouTube for you to read. There's no what do you need leaks for?
Yeah, I found one earlier that was. It was like if you just search YouTube for chapter approved, there was a guy flicking through the book page by page. So
Well,
I mean,
Bristol.
if you're desperate for that, you can find that, I guess.
New Zealanders, Australians, Cyborg. No, sorry, Cyborg, I haven't got any booze. I wasn't intending on streaming tonight. I just sat down and saw it pop up and thought I'd come on here and offer some abuse, and that was about it, really.
Isn't it pronounced Arkansas?
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely not pronounced like Arkham, like the asylum in Batman. I'll tell you that much.
Like
That was my immediate thought.
Is that like the Canadians pronounce something as Toronto and it's like spelt Toronto or something? That's supposed to annoy Canadians, I've heard.
Unless he actually is in Arkham Asylum from Batman because he's gone mental after he's seen the points cost changes in chapter approved.
That'd be wicked.
They had to call the police. They're like, he's lost his mind. He can't believe that they spent another year leaving all these models with terrible points costs.
Oh, Jedi, it's not just that it doesn't have a rules reference, it isn't spiral bound, it's the fact that it's like half the physical amount of pages as the previous book, and still as much. That's the other thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to be positive about it. I guess that was my feeling earlier today. I'm gonna try and do like a pretty positive video this week, but at the same time, like when you just sit down and you think like they had a year to look at. I wonder what models are crap in the Space Marine arm. Like, they could have just literally emailed me and I would have told them.
I am certain that Marines will get another time in the sun, because you got to understand that Marines have been solidly like the golden boys of Games Workshop for 18 months or so. As they've got to have a little time where other armies shine for a little while, and now with this supposed, which I totally believe, Codex Space Marines 9th edition version 2 due out later this year, they're just going to go back up to the top again, and their points will come down and they'll be ruling the roost again, I'm sure.
We'll end up with a situation like we did in 8th, where we had those stupid Iron Hands lists that were...
Yeah, and they'll be redoing all of those supplements again.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to buy Howling Banshees out the arse for my new Eldar army, Matthew. They look great.
Do you think that if they do a second version of the Space Marine Codex, they'll actually tackle some of the non-Primaris stuff, or do you think it'll just be Primaris
they'll
models?
totally ignore non-Primaris. It'll be completely Primaris related stuff. Non-Primaris will be no priority to them whatsoever.
See, I'm not even one of these people that hate Primaris. Like, I usually have my army 50-50 Primaris, but my god does it annoy me that they just ignore the non-Primaris stuff, because I have thousands of points of that stuff just sitting on the shelf waiting to be played. Like, anytime.
That's exactly it. They're like, especially with the non-Primaris, they're thinking everyone's already got loads of that. We want to sell more of the new stuff that they haven't got, and it's very expensive, and £60 tanks and all the rest of it.
Deaking, I think you're completely right. The new supplements that will happen at the end of this year will be all of the sort of Ultramarines, Iron Hands, Raven Guard, Salamanders, and the other two that I can't remember. It won't be Space Wolves, it won't be Blood Angels, it won't be Dark Angels, it won't be Deathwatch.
Yeah, you make a good point, Tony, but it's so frustrating. I can't imagine how the people that, because there is some people that just want to focus on Firstborn stuff. Like, if this is how I feel when half my army's Primaris, I can't even imagine how those people feel. They must just be like... They must be getting close to quitting the hobby, I guess. Because they're just completely neglected.
Either that or they play narrative or Crusade or something.
Yeah. At the same time, there's still lots of people coming in. We have a school Warhammer club, and I've got 20 or so kids that are all about sort of like 12, 13, 14, 15. And every one of them is super excited. They don't give a shit about Firstborn stuff. They're interested in the new shiny Primaris stuff. And at Christmas, they're all, they came in straight after, and they're telling me how many box sets of crap they've got, and look at my aggressors, and look at the gladiator tanks and stuff like that, because Mummy bought it for me. And as mean as it sounds, those people buy a lot of Warhammer. And us old bastards who've already got ginormous armies, whilst we have bought a lot of Warhammer, we tend to, I think some of us buy a bit less than we used to.
Suppose.
And they're in, sounds a bit mean, it sounds a bit cynical, but I do think there's some of that in there.
Well, from a shareholder's point of view, GW doing something right, because the value of their shares keep going up.
They're getting more and more new players into it, and the new players want the shiny stuff.
And the bonuses they're handing out to their staff every year are pretty tasty as well, apparently.
Pretty chunky, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, I did read, I don't know how true it is, that they sell as much Space Marine stuff as all the other armies combined.
Yeah, that's what
shocked me in the slightest.
People like playing. It's like it's like Star Wars. People like playing like the heroic characters, and I guess if Space Marines are seen as the defenders of Terra and they're the quote unquote heroic characters, then people will, a good portion of people will gravitate towards that, I guess. If you sign up, I'm going back to the schools thing again. If you sign up to their schools program, which is actually excellent, and I can't fault that, they send you a big box of stuff. They don't cost anything, and it's full of sort of like breakdowns of the different armies, and there's a bit of Sigmar stuff in there and a bit of 40k stuff, and you get all these models. They're all intercessors and Stormcast, but even the books and that, and the kids are all looking through the books, looking at all the different armies and stuff and who they can collect, and probably 90% of those kids go to, after they've looked through all of the armies, they all go, Space Marines are the coolest.
Sorry, just jumping on something Deking has said there. There's another thing that's affected Guard, which is beyond points costs as well, which is this change to you can now no longer mix like chapter or otherwise keywords for like Legion keywords and whatnot within the same army. So you couldn't have Cadians and Catacans in the same army anymore.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting change. Do you think that's... Well, I mean, it's going to hurt some of the armies more than it hurts Space Marines for sure, isn't it?
It makes a big difference to Sisters of Battle.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it. Thematically, I like it a lot.
I like it from the point of view of it makes the armies adhere more to their fluff and flavour rather than mixing in some other stuff just to neuter the disadvantage that they're meant to have by playing that particular kind of army.
Yeah, do you think that affects AdMech as well?
Not sure if they've been doing that kind of thing.
They do a little bit. I don't know how much it's going to affect them.
Yeah, I thought they had been doing a bit with AdMech because Mars was like really strong for shooting, and then I'm sure they were taking something else with the Mars detachment.
I'm fairly sure that AdMech will take it in their stride regardless.
Yeah, they're still fucking broken.
Riziel's saying well done on... I don't know what's more embarrassing, the fact that this is a 4th edition model that's just finally getting some paint on it now, Riziel, than than anything else. And yeah, as much as
I can understand why they've done it from a competitive point of view. It's easier to balance factions and groups of factions if they're going to stick to their own little sub-tag rather than worrying about what happens when you mix in other flavours and whatnot. If you're going to play Crusade, if you're going to play narrative, you can totally mix all this stuff. No one's going to care.
You want narrative.
But from a competitive point of view, making that a little bit more controllable, I can see that.
Yeah, no, I like that from a competitive point of view. Yeah, Gitley just joined the chat, and he was at the Nottingham GT today. Did you see that they... I don't know if you saw the screenshot from the Nottingham GT, but apparently they put the players on the small table edges? Which seems crazy to me for a GT.
Yeah. Fuck that.
What do you mean?
As in, like, you normally play on the long table edge, like you would stand on the side of the board that's like 60 inches long.
And then you've got to lean over and reach over more of the table.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So if you've ever been to a tournament and finished the day at a tournament and think, holy shit, my back is sore, then just imagine it would be twice as bad because they put you on the short edge.
Well done, Gitley. Good results.
Win versus Mortarian, Belcor, double shooting Noise Marines, and 3 Plagueburst Crawlers. Nice.
This Dreadnought has a Fist and a Multimelta and possibly a Stormbolter under the fist.
Yeah, Stormbolter.
Yes, Stormbolter.
Old school. This is the plastic. This is precisely the Black Reach Dreadnought. This came in the beginning of the 4th edition box. Jedi just became a member. Thank you so much, Jedi. Appreciate that. Yeah, new member. Cool.
Yeah, welcome, Jedi. Make sure you've connected your Discord account to your YouTube so that you can access the members area. And then you can see John being salty in there as well as on here.
On the stream, yeah. I'm trying not to be too salty. I mean, there's definitely a degree of salt, though, right? Like, it's just a little bit annoying that I don't think from a business perspective that they can't still sell Firstborn units for Space Marine players. You know, like, I mean, I guess I don't know, but
You see, logically, from my point of view, the costs of designing all the old stuff are sunk costs. They've made their money back off them time after time after time. So I don't see why they don't just push them as much as you can.
Well, yeah, because every sale they make is just more profit.
yeah, and that would be like, I would actually be happier with like a meta that moved more often than like this, you know, like, so we have a year where basically over the last year everybody has gravitated to Contemptor Dreadnoughts, right? And like to the detriment of like, and from what I understand, like a lot of people were 3D printing Contemptor Dreadnoughts because like Contemptor Dreadnoughts are kind of expensive and they were out of stock and the Volkites were out of stock and everything. Whereas like I would be happier if we were in a meta where like, you know, for 3 months of the year, wow, Predators got 40 points taken off them. Everybody's running Predators. So like, even if new players don't have Predators, they would buy Predator tanks because Predators are really good. But then they went, oh shit, we went too far with the Predators, let's pull them back. And then people are buying other stuff. Like, I don't see why we have to have such a stagnant meta where it's like, all right, we're just going to lower the cost on a few Primaris models.
I do think that's what they're doing, but a Predator costs, what, 30 quid, £35, and a Gladiator costs £65, so that's the one they're going to press.
Well, put it up. It doesn't... There's nothing to say that a Predator always needs to cost £35 if it's
Say that, because they already do it. You know, a few weeks ago, I called that the reason nobody could buy Hammerheads anymore, and the reason they released that article was that everyone would go out and buy up all the old stock, and then they could rebox it for a few quid more and sell the same tank. And then lo and behold, that's exactly what they've done. You know, they've just put the same tank back out, now it's back in stock for a fiver more than it used to be.
Smithy, they didn't go up. They went up last year. They haven't gone up again.
Sure, so here's my question. You have how many Predators? 2, 3, 4, whatever. How does that affect you at all if someone new coming into the hobby has to spend £5 more on a Predator? And also, how does it... Would that not just make it healthier if it's like, when you go to the website, you don't just need to be like, oh, well, I guess I need a Relic Contemptor with Volcon because that's the fucking thing that everybody's running for the next year. And if I don't have the Relic Contemptor with Volcon, I'm going to lose at a tournament to somebody with a Relic Contemptor with Volcon. Like, is it not healthier to be like, well, I could do that, but I could also get the Firstborn Predator because that's actually still quite good, or I could get the Vindicator. You know, like, could they not try and have some effort on like just put some of these things in some sort of sense of like excitement? I don't know. Maybe I'm hoping for something that can never happen, but you know, if you think about it as well, right? Go way back. You remember the Predator, like the 2nd edition Predator, and then when the Ball Predator came out, like it got a different turret and shit, right? Different sponsons. Like, could they not, like, if they want to, if you're saying like they need to have a new model to sell the new model, then could they not go back to some of these classic models and give them like a little bit of an overhaul to be like, well, we could give this model a little bit of an overhaul, and do you know what, some people will rebuy it because some people want the new cool looking version.
They did, didn't they? They did it with the Cadian sprue.
Well, exactly.
They stuck another little sprue in there with some upgrades, and a little bit of a premium on the cost and started selling them again.
Yeah, so I think I would be okay with spending a little bit more on the old Firstborn stuff if I knew it was going to at least have a little bit of time in the limelight, you know? As opposed to just being completely neglected. And completely neglected to the detriment of the hobby, because I don't think the rules for those new gladiators or the storm speeders are attractive at all. Like, I don't think they're good units.
No.
Oh well, I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
It is what it is. Well done, Gitley. Sorry we haven't been reading out your messages. Yeah, the orcs scare me at the moment. I've seen some really brutal orc lists floating around. And I just don't know how to play against it.
Yeah, Jacob was asking, do I think we suffer from getting the Codex too early in 9th edition? Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about that a lot on this channel. I think that's probably what happened.
The opinion we've come up with is you either suffer from getting it early and therefore you're a little bit behind on the power creep in inverted commas, or you've got to wait for bloody ages and stuck with an 8th edition Codex. And I think we agreed last time we discussed this, we would rather have one early than not.
Yeah, I think that was kind of this. Yeah, I mean, I guess that was
nice
it.
Getting it. We're pretty confident with it now. We know the Codex more or less inside out.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be an advantage when you play against.
It is an advantage. I think on paper they are probably a little bit lower in power, but people are doing well with them because they know the army so well.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that irritates me the most, because like whenever I complain about a model or something, Andrew always says to me, he's like, "Well, you still win the games," and I'm like, "Yeah, Andrew, because I like use tactics and shit."
Off to do that,
better than you. That's why. And I don't have every single codex under the sun and try and play every single army under the sun and spend all of my time on YouTube looking up meta lists.
Yeah, that's true.
Copy.
Shots fired at Andrew. If you ever guys get up here, you're gonna have to beat him. Bring your models.
Step 1 to winning games, play your own codex a lot, get to know it inside out. Step 2, learn everybody else's codex so you know how to beat them.
Yeah.
Step 3, buy a Thunderhawk. Thunderhawk meta. You heard it here.
A lot of Firstborn units like land speeders are good because they're cheap and the Primaris ones aren't. I mean, I guess that's the point. And that's probably a pretty valid point. But at the same time, I guess there's enough Firstborn stuff that is crap that I would like to have the option of including, you know?
It's not so much cheap as efficient. If you look at an attack bike or a land speeder, they get to shoot with their Multimeltas as effectively as an ATV. And the question is, are you getting the benefit of the extra points you're paying for the ATV? In damage output terms, you're kind of not really, and they're still costing extra points. And then if you scale that up to storm speeders and whatever else, are you really getting much benefit out of them for the extra points you're paying?
You pay so many points for all the guns, not just some guns, but all the guns, and you just don't get any benefit out of all of the guns.
Yeah, it's most of them useless. Or not in synergy with the rest of what the vehicle that you've bought to do is doing.
Yeah, I don't own a... Do either of you guys own a Gladiator or a Storm Speeder?
No.
Yeah, see...
Turkey-based, they're not going to replace them. They'll just... You might see them a bit more frequently than you currently do.
Tony, let's loop back in on your point earlier, right? You're saying, like, the idea was to have these models to try and sell them. With the 10-point drop on the Gladiator and the 15-point drop on the Storm Speeder, or whatever it was, are you buying any of these models?
Certainly not the fucking Storm Speeder anyway, that bastard thing. What's that R2-D2 sitting in the background? But I tell you what, it does make me look again at that Lancer. Like I say, when we tier listed them, we stuck it in as a B, and dropping 15 points or whatever it is off of it to 165 points with that laser destroyer, I don't think it's shit. And if I wasn't playing Blood Angels, maybe I was playing one of the more shooting-oriented chapters, I think that dropping another 15 points has bumped them up in contention of something I would run. And again, I think a lot of this, we're not the target market for some of these things. It's
Surely we're the target. We're the competitive players that want the new rules and the new shiny toys.
We are the competitive players, but you know, like I say, a lot of people who buy this stuff just want something that's got guns stuck all over it.
If they, do you know what? To play devil's advocate, you could say like, if any of those new Primaris tanks were good, Andrew would own all of them. He'd own 3 of each of them. And he would run an army that was all Primaris. So I think that's the thing that confuses me. It's like the Primaris stuff isn't even good, but we get it at the neglect of the Firstborn stuff, and personally I don't like it.
I did see Colin running 2 Storm Talons the other day, and that made me smile.
Well, yeah. And I mean, you know, Blood Angels used to not be able to take those sort of things, right? Like, we only got, I guess Centurions is a good example as well, since Blood Angels never used to be able to take Centurions. So, like, there is still new Firstborn stuff they can sell to different chapter players that potentially never could take that stuff before.
Yeah,
so,
I've got Storm Talon sitting here waiting to be painted.
So, it does confuse me, the direction, I guess, of, like, how they're trying to do stuff, I guess.
The appeal that you're talking about on the Lancer, Tony. I can understand why you'd be interested in it.
I just don't know.
165 points. It's now 20 points cheaper than a Redemptor. It's got a decent gun. D3+3 is a nice damage roll. Strength 10, so you're winning anything on a 3. If you just want something to sit around and take pot shots at things, I don't think it's a bad choice. I do like the Laser Destroyer. I've always liked the Laser Destroyer. It's just never quite made it onto my list of things to buy. But yeah, 165 points. I don't think it's bad. I didn't think it was bad before, and now I think it's slightly better.
I still don't think I'm ever buying one. You know that? But maybe I'm just...
Maybe you would if you're an Iron Hand, though.
Yeah, the size of the Storm Speeder hull is another thing that puts me off it, because it just makes it that much more awkward to hide out a line of sight and avoid Alpha Strike before it pops out.
It's ridiculous. I can't see any situation that I'd want to run a Storm Speeder. I've heard some people are using them a little bit in Ravenwing armies, but I can't say I've seen it.
With the Centurions being cheaper, would you take them? Centurion Devastators, no. They're still way overcosted, in my opinion. I'd much rather have a few Dreadnoughts than Centurion Devastators. You gotta remember, Centurions are just toughness 5 with 4 wounds. You know, like, so with all this D3+3 stuff running around, I guess if you had, like, a Plague Burst Crawler, you could literally kill 2 Centurions from its entropy cannons, just like that. That's a huge amount of points to lose from 2 shots, right? So if Assault Centurions had gone down, maybe I would be considering them, but Centurion Devastators, they're way too expensive. Good evening, DTM. Yeah,
we did that.
I got excited about Centurion Devastators for like 5 minutes earlier this morning when I looked them up on the GW app, and the costs for upgrading them with las cannons and missile launchers was 0. And I was like, fucking hell, that's like 165 points for 3 cent devs with las cannons and missile launchers. And then it was reported out to me that the reality is that the GW app is wrong.
Surprise, surprise.
Nothing new there, is there?
Yeah.
I did see you get excited about Centurion Devastators for a minute, and I wondered if you'd been drinking.
No, I was just trusting the app. That was my mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, Jax. If they went down by 15 points, then I'd be running them.
Which is why they won't.
Which is why they won't.
So let's loop back on this idea that they're going to have a Space Marine 2.0 Codex, but it's just going to not give a shit about Firstborn, and that's going to come out when?
End of the year, be my money.
Yeah,
I
by the
reckon-
end of the year, within 9 months.
We're probably expecting 10th edition next year. So,
Which,
Yeah.
if GW follows their usual pattern, means we'll get their big story sourcebook update things over the space of 4 or 5 months, and then the next edition
Beforehand.
comes out, rendering all of those books completely pointless.
yeah.
Again.
I thought they said in
Yeah.
8th edition that this was the last ever edition of the game at one point.
Oh, they always say that.
Well, to be slightly fair on that, 9th edition is not a new version of the game, it's an evolution of what 8th was.
Yeah, that's true, I suppose.
It's a good evolution.
It's not like 7th to 8th where they completely scrapped everything and they had those big index books that just superseded everything.
I
Oh, yeah, I remember
when
those.
Third came in, they scrapped everything from second, and they put all that index in the back of the rulebook.
Spotless armies then, though.
Retconning the Horrors Heresy was sanguineous. Where the hell did you get that from?
Charles is maybe... I mean, it is Saturday night. Charles might have been drinking tonight.
Fair.
I mean, technically, Steel Rain, the 9th edition rules are free.
Why, can you
Yeah,
you can
you can
download
get
a little
that
PDF or
core
something?
8 or
Yeah,
10
the core,
pages
you get the
of
core
mechanics.
rules for nothing, and play some very basic games with stuff that doesn't cost any money. You won't get particularly far if you want to play it seriously, but if you're just doing it, well, like I say, I've got a load of kids playing at school. They haven't bought all the books, but they just use those core rules. They use the free models they've got and a few bits of random crap that they pick up from the local shop, and they have a lot of fun with it. Boz, unfortunately, what I'm drinking tonight is a cup of tea.
Unfortunately, there's nothing unfortunate about it.
Well, I wasn't expecting to go streaming tonight. I'd sat down to get my paints out and try and finish this fucking tiger shark that's been sitting on my desk now for 6 months, half finished.
That tiger shark has been sit. That was a commission, right? Did you give the guy an end date for it?
No, luckily.
Does he been emailing you? It's like when your
last
car.
model.
It's like when your car's in the
It really
garage. You're
annoys me.
like,
Yeah.
It really annoys me when you commission a paint job off someone and then they take forever to get it done, sat on your money and your model for months and months and months, never giving it back to you, never finishing it.
I've done every other part of the army except for this tiger shark, and all I need to do is the accessories and the base.
I'm 3 walkers in on my Eldar so far. I'm not too sure what I want to go ahead with on the rest yet. I've got 3 Wraith Lords, 3 squads of Wraith Blades, or whatever the hell to build.
have they announced what's changing with Wraith Blades? Because I thought they were a pretty good unit anyway.
My source for the leaks on them has come through with a blurry datasheet earlier on today, so I'm probably going to build them as Wraith Blades with the axes and shields, because they're still looking solid as ever. In fact, a little bit more solid than previous. The axes look like they're losing the -1 to hit, so I'll take that.
They were generally the better choice anyway, weren't they?
They were, but they were -1 to hit. They're like Blade Guard, basically.
How many wounds
No,
are
it's not
Wraith
just Wraith
Blades?
Blades getting -1 damage reduction. All Wraith units will be getting -1 damage reduction. Wraith
Oh.
Blades, Wraith Lords, Wraith Knights, all of that jazz.
Just to really upset the Custodes players that really
Oh, yeah,
struggle with the -1 damage reduction.
Or Blood Angels players, we don't have an affinity to fight -1 damage enemies.
And the Avatar will be...
Aren't flat damage too.
The Avatar's supposedly going to be 14 wounds, toughness 8, halves all damage done to it.
Tony, what are you talking about? Sanguinary Guard are flat damage too. They literally get
Yeah,
nerfed.
We have other things in the army that aren't flat damage too.
I don't take them though, I just take Sanguinary Guard. You'll be upset in Steel Rain if you take anything else but Sanguinary Guard, you know this, right?
Not So Average Joe has said something that catches my eye. GW has put out too much -1 damage. I'm inclined to agree with that, and I'm also inclined to agree with the whole you cannot wound except on an unmodified roll of blah. There's a ton of that kicking around, and it's
Yeah,
like
that
they've
gets my
picked
taste.
on those two as their special rules for this edition, and they're just chucking them out like water now.
It negates too much stuff.
Yeah, the
Makes our sanguinary guard half as good.
non-wounding really sucks. Like,
Really annoying.
our chapter profile should have, like, you know how, like, sometimes a rule can overwrite? We should have an overwrite on that, where it's like, if it's in melee combat, the +1 will still work, because it completely nerfs us. It's horrific.
Yeah, Miguel, I did some maths on it, and it really does hurt. Ironically, Custodes are particularly weak against Death Guard because of that -1 army-wide really does do a bit of a number on them. Yeah, it's a bit interesting that. They're a really weird army, and they're in a really strange place. Whereas against some armies, they're absolutely broken, overpowered, and then against other armies, they're absolutely screwed, which is not where you want it to be. Some people have suggested that they're going really rock, paper, scissors with it at the moment, and they're releasing armies intentionally like that, so they're good against Army A but shit against Army B, and that's the way they want to run it. But I don't think they are. I think that's a bit too tinfoil hat for me.
Smithy, I've just blanked 7th edition from my mind. It's a horrible time. I don't want to remember it in general. Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be the dullest game ever, Reziel. I did some maths on Death Shroud versus Alaris Terminators earlier, and what happens is they both just flail uselessly at each other for an extended amount of time.
So Primaris Chaplain on bike is now bad. It's just a touch less amazing than it was.
No, I actually think it's still a good. It's still, like, I would still run a Primaris Chaplain on a bike if you had
exactly. It's still a really good choice. It's just not quite as amazing.
He probably needed to be 125 points anyway to be balanced.
I think that's probably about where he should be. It feels about right. DTM, I thought that was against his Ultramarines, not his Death Guard.
I don't know if the points costs today make me change anything about my list. Do you know that?
I've not changed anything.
Your Volkites go up a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, but I mean,
10 points per Volkite.
I kind of already dropped the Volkites because I was expecting them to go up quite a lot more. So, I mean, maybe
I must confess, it's not in me to say this too much, but I'm really glad to be able to say I told you so that they've not gone up to 80 points. That was always ridiculous. I'm never going to regain the respect that I lost for you for falling for that, being quite so nuts about it for the past, 2 months?
I still think they went up more than they needed to go up for a weapon that's got no AP. Like 15 points seems a lot. I mean, like,
Dex is a fairly good description of my sex life.
if you were a shooting chapter, right, Mark? If you were a chapter that focuses on shooting, and you were running like 2 or 3 Volcons with, like, would you be okay with them going up that much per gun? You know, like when something like a Playburst Crawler went down 15 points, do you think a Volkite deserve to go up 10 points per gun?
Deserve? No. But am I going to live with it and find those 20 points from somewhere else? Probably.
You know, for me, I thought 5 points a gun was about right for the Volkite. I'll accept 10 points a gun. They were the best choice, and that's not where it should be. It should be a choice of which gun do you want to put on there, and the guns should be balanced against each other, and having one flatly better in most situations is a mistake, I think.
Jacob, something we discussed earlier, in Discord at least, is that I believe, and I think a couple of other people are also thinking now, that Venerable Dreads for fire support might be a viable or interesting choice.
Oh shit, that's literally why I'm painting this guy.
I like box noughts anyway. I've always liked box noughts. I think they're alright, especially keep them cheap.
Well, that's what I was
They're
thinking.
relatively durable.
Keep him cheap
They're
against.
cheap, they're cool,
Yeah, I think they're
they
good.
still have -1 damage.
They got 2+ weapon skill and ballistic skill.
You got the venerable, yeah. Even the basic non-venerable one's not that bad.
The Venerable one's great for the buffs you get for the extra points. The 6 up feel no pain save, the extra stats on that skill ballistic skill. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I started looking today, because I was thinking, like, if I drop my Eliminators and my Redemptor Dreadnought, does that let me have two, so let me have two Venerables, and it's like, I need to, like, find, like, 5 points in the rest of the army, but I struggle to make Eliminators work, honestly. You know that, the amount of times I don't know, I struggle with them. I think I'd rather just have two.
I don't expect them to do very much, but I found them useful as a speed bump. Sometimes they kill something, and that was handy, and a lot of the time they don't. But what they are is 75-point models that run around, getting in the way of things, being an annoyance, and dying on an objective when I need them to.
They're a lot less interesting now that the whole they're not reliable choices for retrieve Nakman data or retrieve Octarius data, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah, I think maybe that's why I'm off them. Because you can't reliably do data anymore with smaller unit sizes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I never like the las fusils. I know you do, but I just don't like. I much prefer the sniper rifles. I think the las fusils, they become too expensive to just throw away for the sake of it.
You know, the las fusils on paper seem good, but like when you actually get down to it and when you're actually shooting them, like there's very few times I've been like, wow, those las fusils actually did me some good work. I think you probably need 2 squads of them to make it feel, you know, because you only get 2 shots, you probably need 2 squads in a game to just sort of like add in a bit of weight of fire to get over the randomness of like you just have 2 shots.
Why are you not
He always runs one of them, move, shoot, move.
Yeah, fair enough, it's okay.
I mean, if you can
run 3 of them, you're going to hit with 2, you're going to wound with 1.
I don't know, their strength what, 8?
Strength 8 minus 3.
So
I think
3 or 4.
I think the cool thing is that they can move in and out of cover, right? Like, I think that's the strongest thing about them. But now that they can't do engage on all fronts, and well, they can, but the second they lose one guy, they can't, I guess, right? Now they can't do Nakman data. Like, I'm just not excited about Eliminators anymore.
I think the changes to Chapter Approve have made me less likely to run them. I was running them because I found them a good utility piece, but now I can't do so many things with them. They're less important to me.
Yeah, I think
I will still run them, but not in Blood Angels.
That's how I feel.
I'll still run them very happily in Raven Guard.
People love the classic Dreadnoughts. They're cute little tombstones. 155 points for a Venerable Dread with Las and Missile Launcher. I mean, I have one with a Las and Missile Launcher, but I think I prefer the Fist, honestly. I think I'm going to keep mine cheap, because I think you could get them for 140 points with like a Multimelta and a Fist. And I think if you've got Multimelta and Fist, like, you just got 2 Dreadnoughts trudging across the battlefield. Like, if those Fists ever get in... I mean, their Fist's pretty much just as good as the Redemptor Fist, right? You get 6 attacks. It's going to be like strength 12 with +1 to wound. You're actually going to hit more often because you got the 2-up weapon skill. So, sure, your Fist isn't D3 +3, but it's still flat 3. It's still pretty fucking scary, right?
And they won't have the bracket.
Yeah, and they don't ever bracket. Yeah, so they're always hitting on 2s. Even with 1 wound left, they're hitting on 2s. With 6 attacks with a Fist.
Assuming I can trust the... Oh no, they're 20 points.
What's 20 points?
Yeah,
Sorry.
so Twin Las is 20 points extra, so 155.
Too much. I don't like that Twin Las.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare the Twin Las to the Multimelta, like, how is the Twin Las is so overcosted, it's ridiculous. I mean, you just get a little bit more range. That's why I think they synergize with the Fist, right? Because you literally run across the battlefield, so you're going to be in range with their Multimelta anyway. So you're like, it's like the enemy has to deal with those Dreadnoughts.
What do you reckon between Multimelta for an extra 5 points or a heavy plasma cannon?
What's the profile on the heavy plasma cannon on these?
36-inch range, heavy D3, blast, 7 -3, 2 damage, or overcharge to 8 -3, 3 damage.
Still does one mortal
like
to yourself on a
On a one, yeah.
On a one.
Yeah.
But only if you have a charge.
I quite like it.
But if you think about
It's
it,
D3 shots rather than the D6 shots of a Redemptor, but it's also 135 points rather than whatever Redemptor costs.
yeah. I mean, I don't hate it, but I think the thing that I like, if you think about D3, you're just averaging 2 anyway. So at that point, are you not just better off with the multi-melta, I guess?
Potentially, I do like flat damage over swingy damage. That's why I really hate those las cannons, because every time I've needed to roll, it's been like anything but a 1 and I'll kill it, and I'll roll a 1 for damage.
If
Yeah.
it was one las cannon, I'd agree, but a twin las cannon lessens some of that variability a little.
A little bit, but not 20 points a little bit.
Yeah, I think
If I was to run it, I'd run them maybe... Plasma's a good choice, I think. Or the Multimelta. I don't think I'd go with the more expensive one. I do like the idea of the missile launcher, but I do think it's a bit overcosted. 20 points again is a lot of points for...
Overcosted
one.
at 0.
I thought, you've still got to pay for it, haven't you? Oh no, it's the Legends one you have to pay for it. But it's
the
still
missile
one
launcher
shot,
free, is
strength
it?
8. One shot of strength 8 is not going to do an awful lot.
That's why it's free.
Well, true. I think I'd rather have the fist. At least then I can walk up the middle and punch things.
Would you even bother running a Tech Marine with the Venerable Dreads? They don't benefit from the Awakening, and they don't bracket, so arguably healing is not worth it.
If you're running 3 of them with fists and you're walking up into the middle of the board and wanting to punch things with them, then maybe for the extra +1 attack.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, you could probably run a different character at that point if you wanted to.
I probably would.
I suppose it depends if you have a third dread and if it's not a chicken dread that's, that could actually benefit from the Awakening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to try against, because, I mean, multi-meltas aren't great against Custodes because they don't have weight of fire, I guess. But I mean...
It's 4 up, it's swingy. Either your man dies or he doesn't die, and it doesn't really matter what shoots him.
Right, so
Yeah.
here's an idea. GW have been busy ramping up the damage of all these weapons for races that came out after the initial blurb of Codex releases to D6+3 for Rod and Dark Lances.
Yeah, for sure.
Tower getting all this sort of stuff. What happens if, say, come version 2 of the new Codex, they make glass cannons D6+2 or D6+3? Or even D3+2 or D3+3?
Well, then I think the points costs are okay, I guess.
Yeah. Even if they decided, no, we've got to keep the Cognis one slightly better, and they say Cognis one's a D3+3, and everybody else is a D3+2. Yeah.
Their shortfall, as I understand, is they're a lot shorter range.
Oh, the Cognis. Yeah, they're 36 inches, aren't they?
Yeah, but with the current sort of like table size, and that doesn't really that big a deal.
Yeah, I think that's probably the main thing. Like, I would swap regular las cannons for Cognis las cannons all day long. So yeah, I think you're right, Mark. If they bring out the Space Marines 2.0 or whatever you call it, and they make las cannons D3+3, then yeah, I mean on that Dreadnought, I would probably pay the 25 points for.
I'm not sure I expect it to happen, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me.
I think it has to happen. I mean, in some ways that would be a huge buff to like those Firstborn tanks that I'm complaining about, like Predators. Like, you remember the Predator who get 4 las cannons on it? Is it Annihilator? I mean, the Annihilator right now is absolutely trash, but if you tell me that the Annihilator now every las cannon is going to average 5 damage as opposed to a random ass D6, I'm like, okay, 5 damage on every Predator. That's starting to sound on 4 las cannons from like a 180 point model. That's alright.
40 points for the 2 las cannons on the sponsons, though, is still bonkers.
So, Reziel's asked for a shout out on the Blood Angel Commander Discord. There is a little push that has been started for Tabletop Simulator that Steel Rain has been heading up. If you want to join and get involved in that, please do so. It'll, I'm sure, be awesome for all involved.
Yeah, so what's the deal? There's a channel or something for the Tabletop Simulator?
You buy Tabletop Simulator through Steam or wherever, and it's a framework. You can play any game with it that you've got the mods to put the software in for it. And all the mods are listed on the Tabletop Simulator channel in the Discord that will allow you to play a version of 40k through Tabletop Sim.
It's a laugh if you can't get out and play games. So when we had the big lockdowns and we couldn't go places, I played a lot of TTS 40k to keep my hand in. And even now I play the odd bit on there. For me, it's not a replacement for playing in person.
Yeah.
And it does tend to lead to a few weird builds because people use it as an excuse to try out really stupid stuff they would never buy in real life, which can be fun for a while, but it actually starts getting annoying after a while as well. But it's definitely worth a go. I like it. I think it's pretty good.
I'd agree. It's not the same, but it is also not nothing either, especially if you don't get to play otherwise.
Cool. And yeah, so my question was, sorry,
around the world. Sorry.
No, my question was like, what? There's an actual specific Tabletop Simulator chat room in the Discord you can join, or a voice channel?
Yeah,
or
I made it a
what
couple
is
of days ago at Steel Rain's request, I think it was.
Cool. Yeah, so it's a channel that you can just click and join, I guess, if you.
Yeah, there's a chat channel and a associated voice channel. You can go in and talk to each other while you're playing TTS against each other.
Yeah,
Nice.
and I think most of the sort of major mod packs are pinned, but there's loads of other ones as well. There's loads of them out there. People spend a lot of time. It was for a long while a lot easier to get Firstborn models in TTS because people have been going into Dawn of War and ripping all the models out of them to load into it,
Oh right, okay.
which meant that everything that was in Dawn of War had a really quite extensive library, and everything that wasn't didn't. But I've noticed more recently there's getting a lot more Primaris stuff in there, and that, which of course.
There's a fair bit of Primaris in Battle Sector, and then of course there's Tyranids, and they're bringing in Necrons DLC later this year.
So someone will rip the models out of it to stick in at TTS.
Nice. Okay. Cool. So, any further thoughts then on chapter approved, or are we going to put that subject to bed until
Next time.
until I guess are we gonna do a video on chapter approved on the 3 grots?
Yeah, the schedule for that one will be live on Thursday the 3rd, the Thursday after the release date for Chapter Approved 22, which is officially a week today.
Oh, I hope my copy's come by then. That's going to be a pain in the arse if it's not. One of you guys will have to run through.
I'm sure the contents will be able to be
Yeah.
sourced one way or the other.
I'm sure if you look hard enough.
They'll be on the internet the second they'll be on the internet next
There was something
Saturday.
else about Chapter Approved that caught my interest, though, that I've been considering today.
Oh, tell us.
Which is the changes for fortifications. For 90 points, I can bring a bunker, which will allow me to remove whatever piece of terrain I like. Stick my bunker down, probably next to an objective or something, and use that as a nice little block line of sight.
When you say a
if I
bunker,
want
you
to
mean a
put-
Hammerfall bunker or something else?
No. A bunker from years ago.
Oh,
they're
right.
called Imperial Bunker. You can buy them on GW. They're 90 points. They're toughness 8, got a ton of wounds and 3 up armor save. You can put 10 models in, and they've got fire points to allow 5 models to fire out. So if you want to have 5 Devastators inside to just shoot downfield, you can do that.
Really? What's this thing called? Imperial
Seriously, you never come
bunker.
across this before?
Yeah.
I remember them way back in the day, but I haven't seen one in like 10 years.
Yeah, Imperial Bunker. That's all it's called. If
So-
you want to go the next step up and you go something called Firestorm Redoubt, that is about 200 points, and it can have a ton of guns on the top, and it can hold 20 people and 10 can shoot out. But the Imperial Bunker, that's exactly the one. Yeah, that one.
I think I
90
own
points,
this.
hold 10 people, shoot 5 things out the front.
What's
Chapter
the
Approved
rules?
now allows you, if you buy it, to remove a piece of terrain off the board and stick that down. So
Oh shit! So you could put eradicators. There's no stupid Firstborn
there you go.
keywords. So you
I
could
mean,
have
you
a.
could eradicators, but you might not hit very much because they've got quite short range. And
I was going to say
24 points shoots a lot of the
point.
board these days. And you draw line of sight from any point on the bunker.
True.
interesting. So you just pick the most forward piece of terrain in your deployment zone, pick it up, put down a toughness 8 12 wood bunker. And what happens when it gets exploded? Does it just you just disembark the models like it's a transport?
It says so on the sheet there.
Yeah.
Each unit within. Oh no, that's the explodey, rangey stuff. It's the same as if a transport dies. It will affect in exactly the same way.
Okay. Huh. Imperial bunker meta. You heard it here first.
Oh yeah, a hammerhead will one-shot that, but for 90 points, dude. I mean, come on, that's still ablative damage.
I was going to say, what's a hammerhead not one-shotting? Like, seriously, what is the hammerhead not one-shotting? A Leviathan?
That'll kill it. Wait. It's those 3 mortal wounds that carry on over that are really annoying. Because you could say, screw it, I'm going to run all of these like infantry things, but those mortal wounds spilling over means it could kill 2 quite expensive infantrymen.
And a venerable Dreadnought has got a chance to survive it with its feel no pain save.
Very small chance, but it has a chance. That reminds me of this, the scene from Dumb and Dumber. He's like, so you're telling me there's a chance?
Jax, Redemptus might survive one shot, and that's the problem with it. Because it's going to be minimum of 10 damage, but it can go a bit higher than that.
I've actually got 2 of those Firestorm Redoubts because I bought a big terrain bundle when GW did it for Christmas one year that came with the Aquila Strong Point and 2 Firestorm Redoubts and a bunch of little other bits in there, and it was a really good die actually.
So nice. What is this? What like if let's think about this for a minute. What is the strongest thing we could put in there? Like do you want 2 squads of eliminators with their las fusils?
So only 5 models can shoot out of it at any one time, assuming you're talking about the Imperial bunker.
Yes. Like what's gonna be the best? Do you know what? Now that I mention it, las fusils actually sounds pretty attractive because weapon skill 2.
Hell blasters with the plasma.
I think 5 heavy eradicators would be better.
Yeah, I prefer eradicator. Well, no, I mean I prefer eliminators actually, just because of the 36-inch range on the las in the 2+ hits.
John, do you want to look up the Bastion?
Yeah.
Because the Bastion's really, really tall, and I'm not sure what the difference is. Oh, you're busy painting.
We're not ignoring it, but it's still only a leak at the moment, which is why we haven't really paid it too much attention. Yes, we do know that there is a strat that supposedly removes an invuln from any gun, but I don't know how that's going to interact with all the other guns and stuff yet.
Oh, for Tau.
It's a 2 CP stratagem that affects 1 attack, single attack.
We're going to be getting the Tau Codex when it comes out, and I'm sure we'll do some sort of thing on it. We'll certainly be having a look at it on a stream or a video or something.
Bastions might be better if they have 4 heavy bolters and more wounds. How many points is the Bastions though?
I don't know, because they changed its rules to be in the new Warzone Octarius, which I didn't buy. So screw them, because they made the book that I had the rules in it redundant, and it's not happening. And I suppose I should probably just look it up on Wikipedia.
I was just looking it up on Wikipedia now. It's a stronghold, isn't it?
No, just called Imperial Bastion.
I wonder where that is, because I can't find it on Wikipedia at the moment. I'll just Google it, hang on.
Yeah, Wikipedia doesn't look like they got it either. Which is
I was trying to find it.
Uncommon with Wikipedia, and you usually always have.
It's under Bastion. Just the word Bastion, nothing more. It's an underlined thing. 180 points. I think I'd rather pay 90 points, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not going to pay that.
It's quite expensive. That's like 25 points a heavy bolter. Do you know what? It is fucking tall though, so it would kind of give you line of sight against everything. That would be a real curveball to bring to a game, though, wouldn't it?
And fire points, 10 models can shoot out of it, and it can roll 15.
10 models.
Each model with a wounds characteristic of 3 or more takes up the space of 2 models, so that kind of screws up the
Sticking eradicators in it.
the eradicators bit, yeah.
But you could have friggin' 9 eliminators in there with las fusils? That's crazy.
I don't think it'd last all that long though, and it is 180 points.
No, it definitely throws. I mean, the enemy would have to take it out.
I have to say, this is going to be a bit of a bugger to shift. It's not going to be trivial unless you're bloody railguns.
Yeah, Custodes will struggle.
That would be such a curveball. You rock up to a tournament with Blood Angels and be like, hold on a second, I'm placing this giant tower with 9 las gun eliminators inside it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It'd look after your sanguinary guard before they charge someone as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How many models can you actually put inside it, though?
15 in the Bastion.
15.
Assuming they're all 1 or 2 wounds.
And there's no rules about taking up more space if you've got a jump pack.
That'd be Firstborn rules they'd actually change based on you breaking the meta with it.
You could put some suppressors in it as well.
Hold on, 5 points you can take a comms antenna. In your command phase, if one or more character units are embarked within this building, roll a d6. On a 5 up, you gain a command point.
I mean, it sounds good, but are you really going to want one of your characters stuck in there the whole game?
That's
Doing
true.
absolutely bugger all else.
I was going to say, is there a cheap character you could fit in there, but
Plenty, but
yeah,
do anything else.
yeah, that's true.
Although that might work again for my Raven Guard now that I think about it, because one of the characters that I'd pick would be a sniper character buffing the rest of the snipers, although he wouldn't be buffing them because he'd be in there with them, but still.
You could have the guy with the
Primaris.
You know what else you could put in there?
Captain.
better
Hold on a
idea.
minute. Each time this
Vindicaris, that's it. He's a character. He hasn't got any
Is he a
buffing.
character, really? Oh god.
Yeah. It doesn't say he's got to be a Blood Angel character.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So you can have 9 Las Fusil Eliminators and a Vindicaris.
well, hold on a minute. If you have the roof hatch, if you don't put any guns on it and you just have the roof hatch, then 15 models can shoot out of it. So you could have your 9 Las Fusil Eliminators plus a Devastator squad,
What?
right?
Where do you get this from?
Wikipedia. Roof hatch.
The fire points special rule says up to 10 models can draw line of sight from it, so...
Yeah, and the roof hatch says each time this model selects, shoot up to 15 models
Oh, shit.
instead of 10.
using its 5. I mean, yeah. As long as you don't put any more guns on it, which you shouldn't, because they're very expensive and it's got BS4, then
God. It's getting silly.
No, we've made it
funny.
silly now.
Silly.
We've taken it too far. It is coming up to midnight
that's
on
gotta be
Saturday
done.
night.
This is sounding brilliant. I like this.
alright, you know what else you could do?
I'm gonna have to see if I get hold of a Bastion now.
Devastator Centurions.
You finally found a way to get the Devastator Centurions to work.
Yeah. We're going to spin off Vindicator. He can piss off. What we can put in here is 5 Devastator Centurions.
How many wounds they
They'll
have?
all be able to fire.
Are they,
Yeah,
they
4 wounds.
are
Yeah, they're 4
Yeah,
wounds.
so they tank up basically a bit more.
they? That'd be an expensive Bastion.
It would.
It'd be kind of funny though, wouldn't it? I just like it for the humor value more than anything else at this point, really.
That's fair. And they can draw line of sight from literally anywhere on the Bastion's hull, which is enormous and really tall.
You wouldn't even have to have all the models. You could just be like, right, my Devastators and Turians are inside.
Yeah, they're in there.
So are my Eliminators. I thought this was the Blood Angels channel. I didn't realise this was Imperial Fist channel.
Burn.
Yeah, shots fired. I still think it would be decent.
This is the exploring alternate and creative approaches to winning with the Blood Angels channel. Thank you very much, Dex.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't take Redemptor Dreadnoughts, you could just take a Bastion full of Laz Eliminators.
Oh, yeah, Highland's right. You got to paint it bright red. Edge highlight it in like flaming orange down the sides. Oh, that'd be great.
I was gonna say, don't even paint it. You know how you guys sometimes like, I don't know what red you guys use, but I use, what is it, Evil Sun Scarlet? Like, just go full Evil Sun Scarlet on it so you can see it from a mile away.
And those 4 heavy bolters would not be nothing either. I mean, they shoot a ballistic skill 4, 5, or 6, so they'd miss a lot, but...
Yeah, I would keep it naked, I think, and just fill it with models.
Yeah. Well, it has to come with 4 heavy bolters. That's part of the basic equipment for it.
Alright, I'm with you.
I quite like the idea now. I'm genuinely on Google at the moment looking up Bastions.
Could probably get one printed.
You like it in gold, do you, Raziel?
When were Bastions released? How many years ago was that?
Still on the website, you can still buy it.
Oh, very long time ago.
How much is it?
Coming out. It's only 30 quid.
Yeah.
Deal.
And it's in stock now.
Well, it's not going to be after the stream.
For years.
This box set contains 1 Imperial Bastion. This 85-piece set.
Fucking hell.
Icarus pattern las cannon.
Quick, look on eBay. There's probably people trying to get rid of them. Haven't used them in years.
It's ginormous as well, isn't it?
It's huge. Cheaper than Chapter Proof 22. It's £5 more expensive, sadly. Yeah,
if
absolutely.
If they hadn't made me buy that stupid book, I could have bought one of these Bastions, taking it off their hands.
That's funny.
No, because Highland, because it's unaligned, it does not cost the CP.
Yeah, how would you fit it in? Would you have to make a detachment or something for it, or what?
Yeah, it's a special fortification detachment.
Like an unaligned fortification detachment or something?
I know, Highland, I'm kicking myself now.
Man, how many more boxes of Eliminators would I need to buy?
So, everybody, if you want to shut Tony up, super chat some donations in here so we can get him to stop whinging. And any leftovers will go towards some stupid, crazy mango flavoured beer or whatever the fuck he's going to drink in a couple of weeks' time.
Did, from the last stream,
I
Brad...
haven't bought my beer. I need to find something good.
Brad was going to hit you up with some random beer, was he not?
Yeah, I have spoken to him, but his local brewery hasn't got any at the moment, so he says he's going to send me some in the summer. So when it comes, I'm going to go on there and drink whatever mad stuff he sends from Alaska.
Alaska, of all places.
Wow.
Turkey Blaster has asked, have we ever thought about doing 500 or 1,000 point games for newer players? Love the channel, by the way.
Yes, actually, Turkey Baster, we have. And I have specifically, and I've actually just invested in a camera to start setting it up. with the idea of doing some videos on getting started playing games. So yes, is the answer to that.
Pre-owned Warhammer Bastion on eBay, £10 plus £3.20 postage.
Deal. Is it painted and made or what?
It's built. It looks like it's still naked grey plastic.
There you go.
Yeah, Mark, I regretted that, and I regretted it the next day as well when I had to go to work. That stuff was disgusting. I felt ill for days.
We didn't do any 500 point games or lists, but we did do 1,000 point lists. The three of us all did.
Do you think Andrew or Colin would be up for trying that on a Monday night, John?
I mean, they would probably be up for it at some point. And if they're not, I mean, I have plenty of other.
You might be able to get 2 games in the time you'd do a normal game in.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say we did an episode on the Grotz channel about 1,000 point armies for Blood Angels, right?
Yeah, we did. We're getting started with that sort of build, yeah.
Let me
This
see
is
if
where
I can
this
find
idea
that.
came from, doing them. So we've in our little group, we've just invested in a load of new terrain with the idea of doing a few getting started. I've got a few people that actually off of our last stream contacted me and asked me to teach them how to play 40k. So I thought that'd be a good opportunity to try and put together some of these lists and see if we can record some games.
Especially with Science Dad always having
Yeah.
us saying you should do these get started videos.
So yeah,
Oh, brilliant.
Right, hold on.
Oh,
I'm
still
gonna
running
link.
your star.
Turkey.
Is that enough to get you to stop whinging, Tony?
I was gonna say Turkey. £5 storage. Thank you, Steel Rain.
it's still rain. I'll stop moaning.
We'll raise a drink to you.
It sounds like chat want me to try a big red tower in one of. I just want to do that against Andrew now. Just be like, Andrew, I'm going to remove this one bit of terrain and I'm just going to plop down this giant tower.
Oh, it's
and
gonna
he'll
be
be like, he's like, what's in it? I'll be like, nine
It'll be glorious.
9 last fusel eliminators and like, I guess like a Devastator squad of Multimeltas or something stupid. I think I'm going to have to buy the big red tower.
What's the betting Colin or Andrew have got one already that you might be able to just,
I think the
Now,
surprise
before they
element
figure it
would
out.
be better though, right? Like it just needs to come like out of like left field. Just be like, here's a big giant red tower. I'll just spray it like Mephiston red and like put like a tiny little bit of 2 other colours on it. Be like, that's it done.
John whips it out and places his giant red 40k Bastion on the table in front of his opponent. Bastion in inverted commas.
It sounds very fun. Thank you for the super chats. I put a link to our podcast episode, Turkey Blaster, in the chat, which is the episode where we talked about making your first 1,000 point Blood Angels list, and we all made one, right?
Well, no, 2 of us made one, and Mark managed to sort of weasel his way out of it.
I was absolutely valid in what I did and the approach that I did in that video. Thank you very much.
Okay. I guess
But
we'll
yes,
leave that up to Turkey Blaster to decide if he thinks it's valid. He'll report back.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I actually think
Comment
what
on-
you said was
comment on the 3 Gods
decent.
video if you like.
Was decent.
Yeah, cheers, Highland. We're going to. I do like the idea of those Hawaiian shirts. I think they're going to be quality.
We will coordinate between the 3 of us to make sure we each get different ones when the time comes and we do wind up getting them, because I'm fairly sure it's going to happen.
We were looking for things for Firstborn Marines while they can become tower inhabitants. Yeah, I find.
Well, yeah, because you do it during your deployment. That's right. Yeah. You have to set all the terrain on the board, and then when you're placing your army, just make sure you've got that Bastion hidden in a bag somewhere behind the table.
I was going to say, yeah, the Bastion needs to be hidden, and then during deployment, because it only costs like 100 some points, you might not notice that your army is a little bit light, and then just be like, once you set up a few units, just be like, right, remove this piece of, like, remove the biggest piece of obscuring terrain, and right at the front of your deployment, just place a giant red
just
tower.
a bit of terrain that's got its like little corner in your deployment zone. The rest of it's like in the middle of the board or something.
That would be so funny.
Thank you, Steel and Highland.
The tower chat has cheered me up after a day of salt and rage at GW.
I like the Firestorm Redoubt. I've got 2 of them, but it's the fact they hit on 5s just makes me a bit less interested.
Got 2 Firestorm Redoubts.
Yeah.
They're huge, aren't they?
Yeah. The Aquila Strongpoint that was in the bundle that I bought them with is bigger.
I'm gonna have to. I got like 5 more minutes. I'm gonna have to go. I hear a baby crying in the other room, so that is going to be my cue to.
It's been an enjoyable time.
It definitely has.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been a good bit of procrastination. I still haven't finished this Tiger Shark.
I don't know. I should have invited you then at this point. Should I?
I've been playing video games all day and it just gave me a break from that.
Anything good?
I need to find this Firestorm Redoubt. I'm just trying to find it now.
Find it? What?
Ah, yes, I remember that. Yeah, with the bunker in the middle.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
You can't buy it anymore. They seem to have gone off out of production.
And it had 2 quad las cannon turrets on the top. It came out when Storm Ravens were a thing, when they were just releasing flyers properly, because it was designed as an anti-air bunker.
So what edition would that have been?
I wish... 5th, maybe?
5th or 6th? No, sort of 6th, I think.
Because at the same time they made that big push for the sort of apocalypse and things like that, didn't they?
Yeah, it was around that. Oh, fuck it. How many points is an Aquila strong point these days? And how many people can I put in that?
Probably legend now.
I was going to say the most.
No, it's not.
I think the most exciting thing has been that bunker idea after a day of disappointments, I guess.
Points can carry 30 models. No limits on wound, because they could all be Primaris, they could all be Centurions, and 15 models can shoot out of it.
Is this the macro cannon Aquila Strongpoint?
Yeah,
I was going to say
at ballistic skill 5.
You're full of surprises. We need to make a Grots episode on this idea.
Oh my god. It doesn't decrease. It doesn't bracket at all. It's 30 wounds, toughness 10, 3 up save, and it doesn't bracket.
Toughness 10.
You've got one of these.
Toughness
I've got one
10.
of these, yeah.
What's this thing called?
It's 440 points, dude. The Aquila Strongpoint. Aquila Strongpoint.
It's cheaper than a Thunderhawk.
You're not wrong. I started Chrono Trigger again today, Foz. With AGDQ having finished up last week, and then I just started watching all the GDQ speed runs of old RPGs that I loved, and got me started on replaying Chrono Trigger.
Do you know what? That Aquila Vortex Strongpoint has those old rules where each unit within 2d6 suffers d6 mortal wounds. If any model loses any wounds as a result of those mortal wounds but is not destroyed, roll another d6. On a 6, that model suffers a further d6 mortal wounds.
Oh, I might pay another 30 points just to have that version instead.
So, potentially, models within 2d6 take 2d6 worth of mortal wounds if it explodes.
And put 15... 15 Hellblasters inside to shoot out of it. And then the other 15 models can be Sanguinary Guard or Ramvets or something.
Death Company with chainsaws.
Tony got the Thunderhawk mark.
And he thinks it's very good against Custodes. That's what we were talking about before you got into the
We've
stream.
kind of overrun that 5 minutes you asked for 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna bail and just literally right now. It's just painting over the last little bit of white on this model because
Yeah, not even nearly done, Mark. It's
I love the idea of
in grey plastic.
I love the idea of a 30 wound toughness 10 model that doesn't bracket.
yeah.
We've changed, Matt. Now with the Imperial Fist Commander channel.
Yeah, we want to buy a fortress to put all our models into because Redemptor's got nerfed 10 points. It's not the end of the world though, but yeah. All right, I'm gonna go. I'll be back tomorrow night for the Army List show. We'll be back when on the Grot's channel.
Grot channel will be 2 weeks from last Thursday, so it'll be the
Thursday,
third.
the 3rd of Feb, indeed.
Okay, yeah, put that in your diary because that'll be us talking chapter approved.
Again.
Yep, and probably having a good old moan about it.
You've probably got a fairly healthy preview of it tonight, let's be fair.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't got a preview of any of the mission and stuff, so
Yeah, true.
it'll be worth tuning in just to see what we have to say about the missions, I guess.
Thanks for the time, everybody.
Yeah, and I'll, if you're in the Discord, all the Grots videos get shared in the announcement channel now as well, don't they? So if you're not in our Discord link is in the video description. You should get into the Discord. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks again for hanging out. I will speak to you. Well, I'll probably see some of you tomorrow night. Army List show is going to be about 9:30, and then Monday night we're playing Custodes, and who knows? I guess how strong they are now. I guess we'll find out Monday night. So
Sounds interesting. I'll tune in for that.
all right. Sweet you guys later. Cheers.